Hi, 7th grade. I'm hoping this will be a quick video today. I'm going over the last lesson in chapter 4. The reason that I think it will be quick is because we've done two-step, not inequalities, we did two-step equations back in the last chapter. So today we're starting on page 173. And if your notes are handy from the last chapter, I pulled the steps right from 3.5. Okay, so if you want to pause and copy them, you can write them shorthand. You don't have to write them out exactly the same as I did, but I am going to read them, okay, just to remind us about all the rules for two-step equations, okay? So these are the same, like I said, same steps as two-step equations. That was from lesson 3.5 if you wanted to look it up, from 3.5. So step 1 is to draw a line through the equal sign. We want to divide our sides. So today we're talking about inequalities, so it's an inequality sign. Okay? Whatever it may be, less than, greater than. The next step, we want to start working towards the goal, which is to get the variable alone. Okay, and so in order to do that, we do our inverse operations, the opposite of what we see. And we want to start with the term that's not attached to the variable, right? We want to start with whatever isn't stuck to the y or the v or the u or whatever the letter is. Once we do that to one side, we would twin rule that, right? We want to keep it balanced. So we're going to twin rule to both sides. Then step 4, get the variable alone. We're still working on that. Now we can move the number that's attached to the variable. And then we're going to twin rule that, right? So this should be fresh in your mind. You should feel comfortable. The only thing that's going to be different is our final step of graphing, okay? So I'm going to write for our examples, solve, then graph. Okay. So our first example. Make sure I'm on. Yeah. I have a over 4 plus 3 is less than or equal to -2. So I go through my steps. Step 1, divide my sides. So I'm going to draw my line because I like that. That helps me stay organized. Okay? Step 2, get the variable alone. Do the inverse operation. Start with the term not attached. So which one of these, the 3 or the 4, is not attached? It's the plus 3. The 4 is attached, right? It's in a fraction with a. So to do the opposite of plus 3, I'm going to subtract on both sides. So I've done my step 2 and I've done my step 3 is twin rule. Now I have an a over 4. The sign stays the same, right? It's just going to draw some arrows. I'm just going to bring it down. And -2 minus 3, it's like borrowing $2 and borrowing 3 more. I now have -5. Okay, I come back, step 4, get the variable alone. Now I get to move the number attached, and I need to remember I'm still inverse operating, right? I'm still doing the opposite of what I see. I see a divided by 4, so I'm going to multiply by 4. 4 over 4 equals 1, so I just have an a, and whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other, so I'm going to twin rule times 4. -5 times 4 is -20. Now, I have a negative in my problem, but it is not attached. It was not attached to my coefficient. It was not part of the variable at any time. So the sign is going to stay the same. It is going to stay less than or equal to. And now I'm going to graph. So off to the side, I'm going to build a balanced number line, -20, 0, and 20. And then I'm going to fill in my circle on -20. And if a is less than, it's supposed to be smaller. That means I have to point towards the negative side to the left. Okay, next one. Example 2. Step 1, draw my line. Okay, divide my sides. Step 2, start working on getting the variable alone. Start with the term that is not attached to the variable. So in this case, that's a plus 1/2. So if I'm doing the opposite to get the variable alone, I'm subtracting. And now I just have a negative 1/3 a. Twin rule it, right? Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Step 3. So I'm going to subtract 1/2. When I have fractions, I have to have a common denominator in order to combine them, whether it's getting bigger or smaller. So I have to change these. So the number that I can think of that both of these go into is 10. So I'm going to change the bottom to 10. And since I changed the 2 to 10 times 5, I have to do that to the top. So I have to, right, 1/2 is 5/10. That makes sense, right? And then 1/5, in order for that to turn into tenths, I have to multiply by 2. So I'm going to get 2/10, right? So if I clean that up, I have now 2/10, a positive 2/10, and then I have minus 5/10. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3, and I still have a denominator of tenths. So on this side, on the left side, I have negative 3/10, and on the right side, I still have this negative 1/3 a. So I'm at step 4. I need to get the variable alone by moving what's attached. So what's attached is 1/3, 1/3 times a. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, because that's how we divide fractions, is use the reciprocal. And I'm going to keep it negative, right? Because there's a negative, and I need that to go away. So I'm going to multiply by a negative, because 2 negatives cancel out. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1, and 1/1 is 1. So now I just have an a. Okay? Notice that this was negative, so that means I am going to have to change my sign. Okay? I had a negative coefficient, so my sign is going to have to flip at the end. Now that the a is by itself, I need to twin rule what I just did, and I did this. I multiplied by negative 3/1. So I'm going to do that now on the left side. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9, and 10 times 1 is 10. So I have 9/10 is greater than or equal to a. Or if you're like Peter and he likes to have his letter first, I like that as well. A is less than or equal to 9/10. Okay, so now we have to graph. Oh, I forgot, you guys. Our sign switched. Did you catch that before I did? So our sign switches from greater than to less than. And when we do that, and we move the sign, or we move our letter, we end up with a is greater than. A is greater than, okay? So it should look like 9/10 is less than or equal to a, or if you wanted to switch the order, a is greater than or equal to 9/10. Okay, now we graph that. Sorry about that. So 9/10 is almost 1, right? So I'm going to have negative 1, and I'm going to have positive 1 on my number line. And then I'm at positive 9/10, so I'm over here. I have a filled in circle because it's equal to, and a is supposed to be greater than. So a number greater than 9/10 is going to be anything to the right. Okay? All right, so that is our lesson for the day. Okay? Nice and easy. Don't forget your sign. That would be the only thing different from equations. For homework tonight, we're going to be on page 175, and I'd like you to try the odds from 7 to 23. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.